ma'am is coming. Rajni ma'am is coming.
Yeah, please allow. We make the program. Ma'am, we can start.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum and a very good evening, everyone, and a very good morning to our resource person of the day. Welcome back. We are on the final day of the FDP program, Online International Faculty Development Program, organized by Miyasi Institute of Information Technology. Today's topic is Workday HRs and Financials. On this note, I would like to thank our participants from various colleges and universities across India for giving us an overwhelming response with this faculty development program and actively participating. We will require the same support and even better support in the future events as well. Thank you for being such wonderful audience. For one last time, a gist about our institution. Miyasi Institute of Information Technology is situated in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. It was established in 2002. It is accredited from AICTE and it is affiliated to the University of Madras. Miyasi Institute of Information Technology is an independent standalone institute offering MCA program exclusively. It is a co-educational institution and has 120 students in each batch studying MCA. That's about Miyasi Institute of Information Technology in a nutshell. Without further ado, let's begin the program. Let's start the session by thanking the Almighty and invoking His blessings. I request Mr. Mohammed Gauss, Assistant Professor, Miyasi Institute of Information Technology, to recite the prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر الوسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس. صدق الله العظيم. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. I now request Mr. Afzal Bijli, Assistant Professor, Miyasi Institute of Information Technology, to welcome the gathering and introduce the speaker to us.
Thank you, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and good evening to one and all present here. A very warm welcome to all the dignitaries, staff members, and participants from various institutions. A special welcome to our resource person for the day, Mr. Mohammed Ali Allauddin, for readily accepting our invite and gracing us with your presence. Mr. Allauddin is a Workday solution architect settled in Arkansas, USA. He is a solution-oriented professional with experience in large-scale global implementation of human capital management and financial systems. He has over 20 plus years of IT experience in developing and solutioning applications with expertise in HCM, financials, and retail. He has done his MBA from Webster University in United States and BSc Computer Science from the New College, Chennai, which makes him one of the proud alumnus of prestigious Miyasi institution. He started his career in India from HCL Technologies and moved out of India to work for various multinational companies like Walmart in Arkansas, Teradyne in Boston, Pearson Technology in New Jersey, Ford in UK, to name a few. It's indeed an honor to have a person with vast experience in IT as a resource person for the today's program. I once again welcome the resource person and all the participants for the 5th day of our 5-day online international faculty development program. Now, I kindly request our resource person and my beloved brother, Mr. Allauddin Bhai, to take over the session. Sir, it's your turn. Thank you.
Thanks, Abzi. Actually, first of all, thank you to everybody for taking the time and listening to me. As Afzal said, my name is Muhammad Ali, not the boxer. I look exactly opposite to him. It's just my parents named me Muhammad Ali because he was famous at that time. And I live in Bentonville, Arkansas, and currently working on a product called Workday, and do financials and HCM implementations. But before Workday, I used to be a PeopleSoft and SAP, and also done SuccessFactors. So doing just HR operations, and I also get involved with a lot of non-profit organizations. I sit on board of directors for a couple non-profit organizations. But to me, best part is when Afzal calls me that, hey, we need you to do something and it's for New College or Miyasi. I readily accept it. I cannot say no for it. So thank you, Afzal, for giving me the opportunity and everybody else involved in this. So without taking any time, I will get into the crux of the discussion topic today, and it's Workday. So let me share my screen and we'll go through a couple decks presentation and we'll go from there. Let me know if you guys are able to see my presentation.
Yes, we can see.
So we will talk about Workday and what Workday platform is. And on the Workday platform, we will go little deep into the integration platforms because that's what I do. And I'm more of a techno-functional, but more focused on the technology side of it. So Workday, so we talked about myself. So I think I'd like to skip this. So we'll talk before we get into Workday, right? So we need to understand what's cloud computing. Before we get into Workday, what all those cloud computing stuff, let's understand what's cloud computing. Cloud computing, in a nutshell, right? If you look at it, currently, if you go like 10 years back before cloud came in, it used to be something called traditional IT, or they used to call it as on-premise. When you say traditional IT or on-premises, you will have from top to bottom or bottom to top, you will have all your applications, your storage, your servers, everything managed within your premises. It's on your own network. You are responsible to manage it. You are responsible to manage your application. For example, you're building an application. You are responsible to manage the data, the database, the storage, networking, everything. So you could see you are managing everything, right? So with cloud computing came into picture, what happened is it opened up different ways. As a customer, I can either go into infrastructure as a service or platform as a service or a software as a service. So if you look at the infrastructure as a service, you could see a big difference. Only thing with as a customer, what you manage is your application, your data, runtime libraries like Java libraries and other libraries which you guys may like .NET libraries and all, right? Middleware could be enterprise service bus. All is managed by the customer. But once you go on the cloud, your operating system, your virtualization like VMware, server like Linux server, Windows server or Unix servers, storage and networking, everything is managed by the cloud providers. And good example, I will get to a few examples of infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service. When we talk about platform as a service gives you everything. It will give you the runtime libraries. You don't have to go to Java website or Oracle website or Microsoft website to download the runtimes. Everything will be available on the platform for you. And once you have that, you will be developing the applications. Like, for example, you will be developing a vaccine management system or maybe a payroll management system or whatever it could be, right? Attendance management, whatever. So you will be developing the system, but who is managing your infrastructure? Who is managing your platform? Everything is managed by the cloud provider. And when we talk about infrastructure and platform, there are three providers which comes to my mind. One is Amazon Web Service, AWS. AWS can do infrastructure as a service and also platform as a service. Microsoft Azure is also an infrastructure as a service and a platform as a service. Google Cloud Platform, it's infrastructure as well as platform. So based upon the subscription, based upon what you want, you can decide the infrastructure as well as the platform, what the customer wants to do. And the third part is software as a service. You don't do anything. Everything is managed by the cloud provider or the provider or who is the software company, right? So they build the application for you. It's all there for you. You can configure the system the way you want to work based upon your business needs and processes and everything. But good example of software as a service is Salesforce is one of them which comes to my mind, and Workday is one of them. They are all our software as a service, right? So when you buy Salesforce, you get CRM part of it. You don't have to build a CRM application. CRM is managed by Salesforce as a provider. But whereas in platform and infrastructure, you don't get the application. You manage the infrastructure or the platform, but you build the application. So we are going to talk about this third part, which is Workday. And Workday is a SaaS model, which is software as a service. And one unique thing which I want to call out is about Salesforce. Salesforce is one unique product, which is software as a service and also a platform as a service. Salesforce can give you CRM, software as a product, but Salesforce also gives you the platform, developer platform. If you want to build applications and do some quick reporting analytics, it has that platform. So Salesforce goes between SaaS model and the PaaS model, which is platform as service. So that's one thing very unique about Salesforce. And Workday is completely a SaaS model. They are working on a platform. It's called Workday Extend, but we would go into details a little later. But at this point, Workday is a genuine software as a service. So let's talk what's Workday. Software, Workday is a software as a service, right? Why software as a service? Why is Workday so famous right now? It's been in the market, I think, since 2002 or 3, but it's become pretty big because it's a one product, one place where you have HR, where you have finance, where you have analytics, and you can do even insights, analytics insight, adaptive insights. It's a product. So in one place, in one product, you can do everything in one place. Whereas you go to another product, like for example, SuccessFactors, what they do is they will have a different SaaS for finance, different SaaS for HR. But Workday, even the financial platform and the HR platform, everything is in one product. And the beauty of it is they can integrate and they can talk very well. When you have something in one product, your integrations and your touch points become easier. You don't have to go from one product outside to another product, right? And it's easy to maintain. And whenever you do a SaaS model, you don't worry about everything. So the provider, for example, in this case, Workday, will have every 6 months release. Every 6 months, they will say, I have made an update to this product, this application, this all the release notes, and customer can go look at the release notes and they will get automatically updated. There are some updates which are hard updates. You cannot say, I don't want this. You will have to pick it. And there are some optional updates which you can decide whether you want it to be on your tenant or not, right? So when you go software as a service, you know it's a cloud product. But in a cloud, we may have thousands of customers. How do you know which customers belongs to what? Because how do you manage that it's the same software? I don't want customer 1 information to be seen by customer 2 or customer 3, customer 4. How do you manage that? So that's where they have a concept called tenant. Think tenant like an apartment, right? In an apartment, you could have 50 apartment buildings. So what happens in an apartment, think tenant as an apartment, you have building 1 which belongs to Afzal, right? And building 2 which belongs to Ali. So now what happens? Afzal and Ali both has their own dedicated building. It's the same concept called tenant and multi-tenant concept. So when you go on cloud computing, every customer will have their own tenant instance and it's dedicated to the customer and customer data. Nobody else can see what's going on in building 1, building 2. So about Workday, founded in 2005 by PeopleSoft. So PeopleSoft is one of the, I think it's still one of the best HCM product in the market. A lot of universities use PeopleSoft, but PeopleSoft was acquired by Oracle and it's one of the worst acquisition happened ever. When Oracle acquired PeopleSoft, it was not an easy acquisition. It was a pretty tough acquisition. And Dave Duffel and Anil Bushri were the key people on the PeopleSoft side. So what they said, let's get out of this. We will not be with Oracle. They build their own product. And that's how Workday came into picture. And when you look at it, I was talking about human capital, HCM, financial management, and payroll, all 3 in one single place. Good example, right? You can go to Bamboo HR and do HR, but where will you do your finance? I don't want to go to another product and do my financials. But in Workday, I can do everything in one place. I don't have to close a window and open another window and open another application. So they call it as power of one. Workday is very famous for this word called power of one. Power of one means one place, everything. So when we talk about Workday, we saw we have 3 buckets: financial management, human capital management, and payroll. So we'll go a little deep into each of those modules, right? HCM has different modules. HCM, human capital management. So that's where your hiring, recruiting, firing, promotions, demotions, compensations, everything happens. Say, for example, you want to build an organization, right? So first thing you will do is you would need to hire people in the organization to work. And once you hire, you need to manage them, right? You need to have benefits for them, because without benefits, why would they stay? Or without the compensation structure, why would they stay? And after 3 years, if you don't promote them, they will find another organization. So it's a life cycle. So core HR, when you say core HR, is where all the hiring process, all the rehiring process, promotions, job moves, everything happens within core HR. But once you hire a person, how does the benefit know that this person needs to enroll into benefits? Or what is his compensation? And after 1 year of hire, you will have to do his performance, right? Performance and succession planning. Performance is nothing but evaluation. You will have to do an evaluation on it, because that's how you would make sure that he is ready to be promoted or he is ready to be demoted, whatever, right? But recruiting is the first step where you will recruit candidates. That's where the candidates will apply for your job requisitions or job postings. So basically, when I search for job, the first thing I would do is maybe I will go to indeed.com or monster.com and apply for the jobs, right? Once I apply, I go through the interview process. I go through the background check. They provide me offer. Everything is managed in the recruiting module. Recruiting module has all of this. Once a candidate applies, it maintains the candidate information in the system. And once you do interview, it manages all the interview outputs of the interview. And you can do the background check, like drug test and all those things, and it will manage the results out of it. And once you are ready and offer it, that's where the core HR system will interact with recruiting, that this candidate has accepted the offer, let's hire him into the system. Because once he accepts the offer without creating and hire or bringing him into the core HR system, you cannot do any benefits, you cannot do compensation, you cannot do performance. So first step is hire. That's where the core HR system comes in. But these are all modules. I'm trying to simplify it by giving some of the events which can happen in the employee life cycle, but a lot more goes on in the system. And in Workday, what happens is every module here listed is pre-configured. They call it as vanilla version. So any organization can just pull this product and start doing the hire, benefits and everything. But you may have instances where your process is different, your hiring process is different, or you have different benefits process. You can go ahead and configure the system. So that's where the functional people come in. Functional people are the person who know how this product can be configured. For example, you want an hire. In the hire step, you want to put a condition that if it's UK, do this. If it is US, do this. You can configure those, everything in the product, right? So time and absence. How do you manage your absence, like leave of absence? Or how do you manage your time off? And time tracking, how do you manage? There are people who will be hourly people, right? So you may have to manage their time, because if they work on 8-hour basis, you pay them on the hourly basis. And there will be people who are salaried who will not go through the time tracking. But at the end of the day, everything has to tie to one module, which is called payroll. Because if you don't pay them, they are not going to stay. You may give them benefits, you can hire them, everything. But payroll is a system which will do the payments. Payroll, deposits, everything happens to the payroll. But overall, HCM, if you look at it, there are more modules. And I think there is people experience module available right now in Workday, which is not listed here. People experience is more about the people, they call it as employee self-service. Learning. So once we hire people into Workday, so company would say that this is my mandatory training. I want you to go through and understand my security policies, and there will be videos which you'll have to go take. Or there will be a video which will say, this is my diversity program, and this is my onboarding video. So you will have to go take those videos, and it will be in your profile saying that it's these videos you have completed. Or that could be like courses, like if you want to learn XML, company can put a video about XML where you can go learn on your own time. It's not a mandatory. There are some learnings which are mandatory. There will be some which are not mandatory. And analytics, right? So one good thing is if you look at this product, everything is in one place. How do you do reporting? Because you hire people, and if you don't know how many people you have hired, how many people have been terminated, what's your ratio of people getting terminated, you have no choice. You have to have a product which can do reporting and analytics for it. And this product has a very good analytics and reporting, and it's a separate stream altogether. Reporting and analytics is very separate. It has different types of report. To name some, advanced reporting is there, composite reporting is there, dashboards, pretty cool stuff out there in reporting when it comes to reporting on this product. So next one, we will go to financials. Financials, it's more about you maintaining your accounting. If accounting can be core accounting and financial accounting, and also expenses, procurement. What financial comes into picture is, for example, you ran payroll and you paid an employee. It needs to be in your financial system. Because when you do your closing at the month or a month end, you need to have a balance sheet which will tell this was the money which was paid for payroll, and your ledger should manage. So this system will manage your GL accounting, which is debit and credit, and all your expenses. For example, when you hire people in the company in the HCM module and they travel, for example, I travel to say UK, I would not pay from my pocket. This is where I will go book my travel booking. And then once I come back from my travel, I will put my expenses here. I would say, this is my expense for my hotel. This is my expense for my taxi. This is my expense for the travel, the airfare and everything, right? This is the system which will manage your expenses. But how does the accounting get to know that this is my expenses? Every expenses has to be a GL entry. It needs to have a ledger entry. Because if you don't have an entry for it, you don't create a GL for it, accounting will not be able to balance it, saying that, hey, why is this expense come in? $10,000 expense come in, but there is no expense for it. Procurement. Procurement is when you run a company, you will have to do procurement. You will have to go buy computers, laptops, everything. For example, you will do a procurement from Dell. Dell will be giving you the laptops, all the infrastructure needs, right? Or you might be going to another company to get all the, say say, for example, in Miyazi, right? The building management, somebody has to manage the building, keep it clean, AC working, everything is working, right? Operations management. So how do you do those procurements? So you can manage all those procurements through Workday. You can procure all the things you need for your organization. It could be an external procurement. It could be an internal procurement. So in terms of procurement, they call it as GNFR, good not for resale. And there is something called GFR, which is good for resale. Good not for resale is something, for example, when you buy a laptop for your organization from Dell, you are not buying it for sale purpose. You're buying it for your own purpose, for students, right? You need to have laptop for the students. GFR, good for resale, is, for example, like supermarkets. They buy goods for selling to the people. So that's where you go buy all the grocery stuff and everything. Same organization can be doing GNFR and GFR. So good example I can do is Walmart. Walmart has stores and Walmart also has IT. So they will be doing both GFR and GNFR. So when we come to inventory management can happen here. And revenue management is one of the key things. So at the end of the day, you have GL and everything. And say, for example, you are an let me think through this. Say, for example, you are a company like Accenture or Infosys, right? You will be doing a revenue based upon how many customers you work with. So you may have a customer called Walmart, you may have a customer called, say, Kroger, you may have a customer called Target. So when you work with a customer, how do you know for each customer what is my revenue, what all the different projects I'm working on, how much time my consultants on each of those projects for each of those customers has to be, how many hours they have worked, and all those things, and what's the contract between the customer and the company. There will be a contract. So based upon the contract, you will do the invoicing, customer invoicing and everything. So that's where revenue management comes into picture. And for revenue management to work, you need to have projects. Projects in Workday, they call it as PSA, professional services. Projects is nothing but if I'm a company, for example, like Accenture, where all I do is go implement projects for customers. Every customer is a project for me. And each of my consultant will be working either in multiple projects or in one project. How do I track that time? How do I track that I need to go build this customer for this project work, for a consultant working 40 hours on this? Right? So that's where this whole thing comes in. And the key thing, the key interaction between HR and financials is very important is the payroll part. Because when you make payroll, money goes from payroll, finance should know it. So they have something called AP, advance payable, and AR, accounts payable and accounts receivable. So those are the key things, and that's the interaction between the HCM payroll and the financials. Payroll, we talked about what the payroll is. Currently in Workday, we have support for 4 countries, but it's growing. More and more countries supports are coming in. You can run payroll for US, UK, Canada, and I think they have added for support for India also right now. Workday has India payroll support too. So payroll is a module through which you make all the payments to the, like for example, an employee has compensation of 20 lakhs per annum, but he also has benefits. He also has allowances like car allowance, house allowance. Payroll is the one which will do all this calculation, because 4 lakhs is his base pay. And then how does it know that it has all these benefits? Because it needs to do some deductions, right? On the payroll, you will deduct all the benefits. And there will be some earnings like car allowance and home allowance, which needs to be added on top of your base pay. So payroll is the one which will interact with all those systems, with benefits, with time tracking, with the time and absence, because time tracking, if somebody needs to be paid hourly, payroll needs to know that this is an hourly person and this is the hours they have worked. This is their hourly rate. So payroll can go pretty deep, pretty much, very vast, and it's by itself a module in Workday. So moving from HCM to financials to payroll, we can go look into the single platform. This is the one we talked about. It's a single one, power of one, where in one place you have all your HR, financials data, and being on one product, it's easy for you to manage and very less integrations or touch points with vendors. And we'll talk about integrations, and you can do all your reporting in one place. And this product is mobile enabled, so you can do things from your mobile, and you can do complete audit and trail of security, all your hires, all your terminations, everything. You can do the complete system audit in one place. How many people logged into system, who was using this particular functionality, who made this change, everything can be tracked. So we talked about the modules, HCM, financials, and payroll. So when you have those modules, why does integration comes into picture? So before we go into integrations, I would like to go back to a slide 2 slides back. So as a customer, I might say I want only core HR, and I want time and absence, and I want only compensation. I would say I don't want your benefits module. I will go with another product, or I will go build the benefits and recruiting. So now the question is, if you are not doing Workday recruiting, the candidates who are applying in your recruiting system, how will they be hired into your HR system? Either you will go manually enter all those information, or you can bring an integration from your recruiting system to core HR. Through integration, whenever a candidate accepts the offer, the integration will come and automatically create the hire record in Workday. You don't have to key. Same thing with benefits. I have hired a new employee. If my new employee information doesn't go to the benefit system, they would not be able to go into the benefit platform and enroll for their benefits. How do I do that? Again, I can do this manually, that whenever I hire an employee, go into the benefits provider system and enter all the information manually. Or I could have an integration to send that employee information from my HR system to benefits. So when we did recruiting to core HR, it's called inbound. Inbound into Workday. That means you're bringing something into Workday. But when you're sending something from HR to benefits, it's called outbound. That means you're sending something from your system to somebody else. So in this case, you will see words like vendor, third-party providers, benefit providers. All when they say benefit providers, it's nothing but somebody is managing your benefits. So what is Workday integrations is we have financial system, we have payroll, we have recruiting, benefits, and we do have Workday as a source of information. For some reason, there will be some data for which Workday is not source of the system. For example, we talked about recruiting module is not there. That means Workday is not the source of system for recruiting. So how do you manage that? How do you get that information in? So with that, we will go into deep dive into the integration architect and tool sets, right? So integration itself is a different architecture in Workday. It has its own tool sets. It has its own technology. It has its own, in Workday terms, they call it as connectors. And we'll go a little deep into it. So here, if you look into the left side, as a customer, I could be an end user getting into Workday, or I could be a developer, or I could be a security guy, systems who manages the system, everything, right? With being on the cloud computing, everything is on an internet. Nothing is on your on-premise or on your own network. Everything, if you have access to internet and access to the tenant, you will be able to log in and you will be able to go into the UI and do the things. So for example, if I am the end user, I will log in through internet and do into the UI, and I can do tasks like hire an employee, terminate an employee, and everything. As a developer, I can go into the same tenant. So the beauty, you can see, it's a software as a service where I can hire people. I can also build integrations. I can do the same development there. I don't have to go to another platform to do a development or anything, right? And Workday, if you look at it, everything going in and out from Workday to outside world or anything within Workday is built on XML. Workday is built on XML. Any way to interact with Workday is on XML only. Anything Workday will give you will be, output would be in XML format. Anything you want to bring into Workday has to be converted to XML before you can bring into Workday. And Workday has a lot of web services. You don't have to build web services. Workday has built it for you. That's another beauty, right? If I buy a product, I will be having 10 developers working on building web services for me. Workday has given you tons of web services for every module, every operation. you will have a web service. For example, as a developer, I want to pull some information. I can call the web service and pull the information, or I can create a report and I can convert that report to a web service. So everything is based upon XML. And this is what happens behind the scene. We guys see these UIs and web services. We guys never used to see this. This is something internal within the cloud platform provided to you. This is where Workday manages everything, object management system. And they have something called persistent store, which is nothing but the database behind the scene. For end user and developer, we get only the picture of this box, UI server and web services. We never get to see what is happening behind the scene. This is being managed by the provider, the Workday as a software provider. So this one is more of an architecture, more going deep into the integrations. So at the top, you have a Workday cloud platform and Workday application, which is nothing but the UI. And then you have Workday web services, public web services, APIs. Those could be SOAP APIs. Workday, when we call Workday web services, they could be SOAP or REST APIs. SOAP is simple object protocol, and REST APIs is more used for mobile application, lightweight applications. And it's basically based upon, it can take XML, it can take JSON, multiple formats are supported by REST API. SOAP is basically XML format only. It has to be XML. And SOAP can take a lot of load. If you have more, like for example, if you are sending a payload of XML for 10,000 employees, SOAP is the best option because it's heavyweight. It's not a lightweight application. But at the end of the day, when we call web services in Workday, it could be a SOAP API or it could be a REST API. And when we say custom APIs, that's the beauty is I can create a report in Workday and I can click of a button. By just a click of a button, I can convert that report into a web service. And they call it as RAS. RAS is nothing but report as a service. Say, for example, if I create a report, get me top 5 employees in my organization, and I want to expose that as a web service to another vendor or another application in your organization, all I can do is give the endpoint of the RAS report, and whoever the system can consume that report using the user password authentication or OAuth authentication. So again, OAuth and authentication is a much bigger topic. The reason is when you have a web service or a REST API, you can do access through token based, or you could do based upon username and password. Workday as web service. So tomorrow Afzal is coming to me and asking, hey, I'm building this application. Can I get the worker web service? I cannot just give him the endpoint. I have to restrict him to get only access to worker. I cannot give my user account and password to Afzal and say, hey, this is my user ID and password. Go consume this web service, because my user account has a lot more access in the system. So when you can do is security, you can create an ISU, user ID and a password in Workday. And in the security, you can give only access to the worker web service. That means whoever is getting access to the user account and the password, they can access only the worker web service, not the whole system. So that's how you go into the web service and you look for the operations within the web service and give access to that particular operation. Same with RAS. If you have 10 fields in the RAS, all the fields needs to have access to the user account. And it's never recommended to give a super user access to somebody, because they might do anything they want. If they get access to tons of web service, they will be able to play around and do anything in your system. And Workday Integration Cloud Platform has different things. One is called Integration Cloud Connect and Custom Integration. Within Integration Cloud Connect, let me bring this up. So this is the one we talked about: REST APIs, SOAP APIs, and RAS. Let me put all of those. So on the Integration Cloud Connect, Workday will give you connectors where you don't have to build anything. There are two types of connectors. One is end-to-end connectors and package connectors. Say, for example, if you're trying to build an integration with, say, a benefit vendors called Athena, Workday will give you the connector where you don't have to do any coding. All you will be doing is configuring the connector as per the needs of the provider, and it will be working right there. In traditional IT, what you will do is, if you need to build an integration with your system with a benefit provider, all you will be doing is writing 5,000, 10,000 lines of code to create the file as per the needs of the provider. With this connector, Workday has provided everything for you. Workday has done all the 5,000 lines of code behind the scene, which you don't know what they have coded. It's a black box for us. But as a customer, I don't have to do anything. There is a connector. I can just plug and play, and it's working for me. Every customer can use the connector because every customer configuration is unique. Data is unique. They may have to configure the connector according to their needs, right? For example, I'm working with a benefit provider and there is no connector for it. What should I do? That's when custom integration comes in. Within custom integrations, Workday has 3 different levels of custom integrations. They call it as EIB, Enterprise Interface Builder, and they also have connectors. We looked at it. And they also have something called document transformation. So as I said, Workday, everything comes out is XML. Everything goes in should be in XML format. For example, you write an integration, it's giving an XML file, but the vendor says, I want it in a CSV format, flat format. What will you do? So that's where another toolset comes in called document transformation. And you will have to do the transformation using XSLT. XSLT is a style sheet language where you can transform an XML into an CSV or dot text or JSON, whatever. Or through XSLT, you can convert a JSON to XML or a CSV file to an XML or a text file to an XML. Good use cases. For example, a vendor sends you a file of all the people you need to hire into your system, and he says it's going to be a JSON file. And Workday can accept only XML. What you will do is, first thing is convert the JSON into an XML. And then pass it to Workday in an XML format. So that's where XSLT come into picture. So key thing in Workday integration platform from a technology perspective is you need to know XML very well, XSLT very well, because that's a key. XML, the product is completely built on XML. XSLT for transformations. And there is a flavor of a little bit of Java can be used. And there is some expression language called ML, which is used within another complex component called Studio. Workday has something called Workday Studio. If you cannot use EIB or DT, I don't think it explains. Okay, let me see if I have a deck which will explain the every custom integrations. If not, I will talk through it. But when you go to custom integrations, you have EIB, you have DT, you have something called Studio. So as an integration, if Workday doesn't have a connector, as an integration lead or the solution architect, I have to choose which custom integration pattern to use. Will EIB work? If EIB will not work, can I do something with Studio? Studio is the last option. If EIB cannot do anything for you, the only option is going into Studio. Studio is very powerful. Studio is more component based. It's more like a drag and drop. It has given you all the components for it. Sorry, guys, I think I'm talking a lot more without showing you what it is, what the studio looks like, what the tenant looks like. The concern here is I would have been very happy to take you into the tenant, show each of what the studio looks like, but it could become a legal issue for me because Workday is a licensed product. And I'm trying to be on the presentation rather than going more. I would be happy to go into the tenant, show into the tenant what it looks like, what the studio looks like. But my hands are tied due to licensing issues and all those things. So I apologize for not going little deep into each of those, but feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and I will talk through of this much more. So some of the examples, right, like payroll providers, Workday has a connector, but every provider would be little different. The connector will give you the data, but you will have to do all the transformations and everything according to the payroll providers. So it's an example of a custom integration. Like LDAP, Active Directory, every organization will have a provisioning system like Active Directory, Microsoft Active Directory, or Okta or something, right? Because how do you log in into the tenant? Every time I don't want to put my user ID and password. I want to connect with my provisioning system and I can do a single sign-on. That means whenever I go into the tenant, if I have single sign-on enabled, it will automatically take you into the tenant based upon your credentials and everything. I don't have to remember my password each and every time. And this presentation gives you, or this slide gives you an information about what all could happen. Workday is sitting out here. Within Workday, you have different business process like hire business process, job move business process, benefits business process, right? So you could see you might be in a need where you will be interacting with a lot of vendors and a lot of vendors would be interacting with you. You would see the arrows which are going out from Workday, and there are arrows which are coming out from vendors to Workday, inbound and outbound. You will be sending data from Workday to vendors. Vendors might be sending something back to you. So this integration, some customers, I have seen some customers where they don't use Workday Studio or anything. They will have their own middleware. What they will do is they will say, send me all your Workday information to my middleware and I will work with all the vendors. Good examples of middleware is Informatica is one middleware. And the other one is MuleSoft. Salesforce owns MuleSoft. And IBM has an enterprise service bus, which could be your middleware. When we say middleware, what we mean here is, instead of having 10 integrations going from Workday, you could see I have so many vendors I'm interacting from Workday. But when I use middleware, there is only one arrow going from Workday to the middleware. But from middleware, you could see multiple arrows going to vendors or coming back into the middleware. So that's the difference. Every time customer will have a choice to make. If the customer is big, they might say, I have my own middleware, I want to use it. So there will be a use case for it. As a solution architect, I will have to explain them why middleware might be good for you, or it's better to do all the integrations from Workday. And there are good reasons for customer, right? So when a customer is going to implement Workday and they have a middleware already, and they've been using the middleware for years, that means customer already has resources who is very well versed in the middleware system. They don't have to learn the Workday integrations. They don't have to learn Studio. They don't have to learn EIBs. They don't have to invest money on that. So in that case, what the customer will say is, I have a good base with middleware experience. Can you just give me everything and my system will handle everything for the vendors? Some customers will come back and say, no, I want to learn Workday. I want to learn Workday integrations. And they will build a team which can do all of this. And whenever Workday is implemented, for example, customer XYZ is building Workday. They will go to Workday and Workday will implement the system for them. Initial implementation would be done by Workday, or Workday will recommend to work with a Workday partner. We call it as implementation partners. They will build the system for you. They will implement the integrations as per your needs. But once the system is live and the system is built, customer owns everything after that. Or customers can say, I need support from implementation partner. They call it as AMS, Application Management Services. So that's where it becomes a key decision is how much you want to do application management services if you don't have a good Workday team, or if you have a good middleware team, how you can go in and take the leverage of your good middleware team base. So before I go into questions, I know there will be a couple more things going around in the mind. One is, how do I learn Workday? How do I get access to Workday? Workday is a tightly managed product. The only way to get certified is either by working for a customer, or working for Workday itself, or working for an implementation partner. Because as a customer, I can go get training in Workday and get certified. As a Workday employee, Workday will put me in training and get certified. Or I can join a partner who will get me training and get certified. And there is no other outside people who can do training. If they give training, it's not certified training. There are a lot of people outside in the market who will give you training, but it's not Workday certified training. You don't hold any certification. So that's Workday ecosystem. It's pretty tightly coupled. But if anybody wants to get into Workday, the best way is, if somebody's done, good example I could give is, as you see, Workday is an HCM or a financial. For example, if I have done BCom or MCom or CA or CPAs, who has accounting knowledge, right? Because of my domain knowledge and accounting knowledge, I can apply to Workday as a fresher. I can apply to a partner, or I can apply to a customer who is implementing Workday. And then they will get you the training and everything, and you will get into it. If somebody is in HR, if I have done MS in HR or MBA in HR or bachelor's in HR, I know the HR process, how payroll works. There are some certificates and everything, and you can get into it. But a lot of people might be having this question, Mr. Mohammed, how did you get into Workday? Right? So the way I got into Workday is, I should be thankful to Walmart. So with my prior experience, PeopleSoft, implementing SAP HR, PeopleSoft HR. And one fine day, Walmart decided that we need to move out from Lawson PeopleSoft and let's do Workday. And part of that process, I was selected in the team as the architect for that implementation, and they put me into training. Walmart put me into training. I got trained, and I worked with the implementation partners. I worked with the Workday, who was the Workday product owners there, right? So that's how I started my journey of Workday. And that's how I got to know Workday, got trained, got certified. And then at some point I made a decision. I have learned Workday. Why can't I do something else, going outside and working for partner itself, right? So that was something. I had the knowledge of the HR, financials, how they work, domain knowledge was there. And then it was just learning the technology and learning the product, which Workday trainings makes it easier. And I would tell you guys, Workday training is not that easy. I have done about 8 or 9 certifications in Workday. And each of the certifications, it's very different. You will have an 8-day class, 10-day class, 5-day class. And after each class, there will be a dedicated day where you will have to write a quiz, multiple choice, and then they will give you real-time projects. Real-time integrations you will be building, real-time configurations you will be doing. they will give like a prototype. They will give you a project where you will have to build and they will assess it. And only if you pass, you will get certified. And this coming week, this Monday, I'm going for another certification for a product called Prism Analytics. So when Afzal came to me, I'm like, just the week he came to me, I got out of a certification, which was very stressful. And I told Afzal, you came to me on the right time, that I'm done with the certification, and the time you are having it, this coming Monday, I'm going to go on a certification. So I think, Afzal, you hit me on the right time and the right place, asking me for this. But from the certification point and learning point and technology perspective, I talked about Workday. But if somebody wants to go into the functional side, the domain knowledge of HR or financials really helps. But if somebody decides that I want to be on the technology side, right? What do you need to learn? You need to know about web services. What is web services? What is SOAP web service? What is REST API? How do you consume them? How do you expose them? And what is XML? If you don't know XML, you are going to struggle. If you don't know XSLT is coding, hardcore coding, right? So you need to know XSLT. Now the next question would be, sir, you told me XSLT, XML, where do I go learn? W3 School is a good friend. w3school.org, you can learn XML, XSLT, at least the basics of XML and XSLT. And then once you get the basics, you can get the editors, you can get any XML editor with XSLT support. And you can do small XML, take any web services, you can take those in XML format and transform it to XSLT. And I think it's not just XML, XSLT. I think W3 School also has a course on APIs, SOAP and REST APIs. If somebody is strong on SOAP APIs, REST APIs, XML, XSLT, without the domain knowledge, you can get into Workday. You can get into Workday. Right now, there is a lot of demand for Workday. But talking about all the, I think the certification, the technology, and also the way the ecosystem is, I honestly, I cannot tell anybody that, hey, there are people outside you can go trained and they will put you in jobs, because it's against the policy. I'm telling you is the right way to go into the ecosystem, is going to the right channel. Hope it makes sense. I'm not trying to say that you cannot get you cannot learn Workday without going to Workday. You can, but it's not the certified process of Workday. So with that, I will open the floor for questions, and we can go from there.
Thank you, sir, for a very thought-provoking and a very interesting and useful presentation. It was truly very interesting, and it was actually very much needed. Thank you so much, sir. Participants, the floor is open to questions now. You can please post your questions in the chat box.
We have a question already. Sir, for civil engineering students, which one is better for core site? There's a question from one participant.
For civil engineering students,
yes,
what is the best?
What is the better for core site? Maybe in the aspect of work they might be asking here.
It's a difficult question, because civil engineering has nothing to do with financials or nothing to do with HR, right? But it doesn't mean a mechanical engineer or a civil engineer cannot come into this product. I've seen a lot of people who are mechanical engineers, civil engineer. My brother is a chemical engineer. He's coming to those products is by learning the technology. If you know XML, you know XSLT, and you have the passion to learn HR or financials, because HR and financials is a different monster than civil engineer, right? But that is somebody wants to come to IT or come in as a business analyst or a functional guy from civil or chemical engineering. Or the other option I can think of is somebody civil engineer, but they don't want to go into technology, but they want to do functional. Then the option is to do an master's in HR or maybe financial accounting.
Good evening, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, this is Jagadish from Coimbatore, sir.
Hi,
Sir,
Jagdish.
my question is, in today's world, AI part of you, is WML language can be used, sir?
AI?
AI, artificial intelligence,
Yeah.
learning, robotics, machine learning.
Yes. Yeah.
You have described about SOAP, right?
So
WSDL.
in Workday, Workday there is AI being built.
Artificial
Workday has
intelligence.
artificial intelligence, but
Yeah.
currently there is no platform to build AI.
Okay.
Workday is built on AI.
Okay.
Workday, for example, when you go into the tenant, due to the AI, it can recommend that, hey, you
Okay.
have 5 people waiting who needs to complete AI.
Okay.
Because Workday is a software as a service, Workday has built AI features in the module itself.
Okay, sir.
Right? So that's a key differentiator between software as a service. Software as a service, the provider will do all the innovations for you, artificial intelligence, neural network, whatever comes in. And Workday's very important key thing is artificial intelligence is key for them. They want to build more on artificial intelligence, robotics like RPA, robotic processing, for example, right? Somebody goes into Workday and wants to hire 10 people. They want to key in, right? So they want to use RPA processing, robotic processing, where you can build RPA process using there are a lot of product. I don't remember one. There is a very famous product where you can keep things in a spreadsheet and it can do all the work which you do manually and key every information into the UI. Hope this answers Jagdish to your question.
Yeah, sir. Yeah, I got the answer.
Yes, sir. Sir, good evening, sir. A question from one of the participants. What is the difference between web services and microservices?
So at the end of the day, web services and microservices are web services only. Microservices uses a different server architecture. So I think they call it as where you break down, say, for example, SOAP web services, right? SOAP web services can have hundreds of operations. It's too huge. What they do with microservices is they have a different server architecture and they break down each of those web services into small chunks. They break it down into like, instead of one web service, they will break it down into 20 web services. But the architecture, the web services are built on, and microservices, web services are built on, it's a little different architecture. They need a certain server architecture for it. I think it's monolithic. I don't remember top of my head on the microservices architecture. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is web services or web services. Even microservices is nothing. It's not a web service. Microservice is not a web service. Microservices is an architecture. How to build web services.
Any other questions from participants side? No questions, I think so.
Okay. I can ask some questions. So maybe a few questions. Let's see who comes in. So Workday is built on what is the one way to interact with Workday?
Can anyone answer this, participants?
How is the data or things maintained within Workday? Oracle, SAP. Oracle is a different product. SAP is a different provider. Oracle has its own HR and financial product. SAP has its own HR and financial product. So Workday is built on XML. Anything you do, consume, or give it outside, it has to be in it. It has to be anything into Workday has to be in XML. Anything coming from out from Workday will be in XML, but you can transform the data by using XSLT.
Ramya ma'am.
Any questions from the participants? So Ali bhai, I have a question. So many of us will be having in their mind. So if they are new to the cloud environment, so what is the best way to get started? Which certification to do? And you can just enlighten us on that.
Sure. I think personally, I do a lot of reading in Udemy, and I would recommend there are a couple. I personally have it on my course is cloud computing. There are a lot more authors. I have a particular author which I follow and I read through his cloud computing courses and understand cloud computing, what cloud computing is all about. But if you are interested or anybody, I can give you the author name. I don't remember the name of the author, but Udemy is the place where if I want to learn something, I go to W3 school, learns the basics. But if I want to go deep into it, I personally, there are a lot of platforms to learn, LinkedIn, a lot of there, but Udemy is my favorite. I go in there and I enroll in courses like cloud computing or Salesforce. Sometime back, I was interested in Salesforce. So I enrolled to learn Salesforce. What is this product about? I have seen Workday, I have seen SAP. Now I was like curious to see what is Salesforce is all about. So I enrolled into a course. I spend my time learning Salesforce, understanding what Salesforce is. So I think Udemy is a platform, not just learning cloud computing, anything you want to learn. Because cloud computing is just a concept, right? But you could decide to go into infrastructure as a service or a platform as a service. You might decide to go into AWS. You might decide to go into Microsoft Azure, or you might go into Google Cloud Platform, right? So that becomes a different monster. Even though you know cloud computing, you will make a decision where you want to go into cloud computing. If you decide to go into software as a service, then you need to be more focused on products which are software as a service. Salesforce, Workday, Oracle Cloud is there. Same thing, SAP SuccessFactors is there. SAP S/4HANA is there. So you need to decide which product you want to go. And when you decide a product, right, what's your strength? Do you know CRM well? Do you know marketing well? Do you know HR well? Do you know accounting well? There are things which, based upon what you like, you might get in. There, Salesforce can do retail also for you, right? So if you want to do medical, like Epic is a very good product, but it's again very tight. It's a cloud-based product. A lot of hospitals use Epic, right? So it's not about just learning about cloud computing, taking the next step. What do you want to do in cloud computing? If you go to AWS, you can go in as an admin, you can go in as a developer, you can go in as a DevOps developer. Lot of things you can go in. You can go in as an AI, they have an AI functionality. You can go in as a data engineer. those are all platforms for you. But when we go to software as a service, you might stick to either functional, technical, or data engineer, or could be a program manager or a project manager. You can go into different paths.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening, sir. This is Karim.
Hi, Karim.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, sir. I'm a associate professor in Narsapet Engineering College.
Okay. I'm there. I'm listening.
Sir, you are in mute, I think.
Hello, good evening.
Yes.
I'm Dr. V. Raghavendran from Wales University, Chennai.
Hey, Raga. How are you?
Yeah, fine, sir. How are you, sir? Very nice presentation, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, regarding this cloud, this cloud subject is included in the university curriculum, college curriculum. But the practical point of view, it practicing those things, in syllabus level. Only they are covering only the minor topics, not major topics. But that is sufficient for getting job in industry, sir.
I give you my very honest opinion. I would say no. The reason is right. Theoretical knowledge and practical knowledge, according to me, are two things. So if you have done something in your college in cloud computing, the question is, you know about cloud computing, but in the outside world, you would not be talking about cloud computing. You will be working on the product itself. You will be working on Azure, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, you don't know the product. You don't know the tool sets. For example, in Azure, AWS, you can do Unix, you can do Java, you can do .NET, you can do full stack development, web development, you can do AI, you can do data engineering, everything. So at the end of the day, you have learned cloud computing, but you have not chosen a product. I always recommend people to learn about cloud computing and then choose a product they want to be in. Either they want to be in AWS or Microsoft Azure, or some people I have seen they want to do both Azure and AWS. Go learn it from outside. Enroll in course wherever, right? Because I think that's one of the things I have been seeing is most of the colleges have these courses, introduction to cloud computing and everything, but there is no infrastructure or the environment where the students can go practice or enhance their skills. Like, for example, they don't have an Azure platform where they can log into Azure and see what Azure is all about, or go into Azure and spin up an OS, like a server, right? Go build an Unix server. And once you build a Unix server, add database to it, add the applications to it, add the libraries to it, and go build an application. Because that's how you will learn the real-time experience of how Azure works. How do you work with Azure, for example? Hope that helps, Raga.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one more.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So definitely we have to go for special training, But in the training institution also, they are giving training in like AWS, AWS Cloud or Google's Google Cloud, sir, or they are giving just dummy cloud.
No, I think there are places who are very focused on either in Azure or either in AWS or Google Cloud Platform. So the best place I would go if I want to learn Azure or AWS is go to the AWS website itself or Azure website itself, because Azure gives you 90 days trial, and Amazon Web Service also gives you a trial, and they also have free courses. AWS has free course where you can learn by yourself and you can build applications and be in that program. Even Google has a trial version where you can get access to their instance and play around in the instance.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sure, thank you. You're welcome.
I think RG Kumar, you raise your hands. You have any questions, sir? Is there any questions from anyone? Samia ma'am, we can just ask.
Yeah. Is there any questions or can we go ahead? I think we can go ahead. Thank you, sir, for a very informative presentation and for addressing the queries of the participants. Thank you so much. Participants, we have posted the feedback link in the chat box. Kindly enter the correct email ID and you will receive an e-certificate as well. Feedback link will be available and it will be in use. It will be accepting responses till 9 p.m. So thank you. Gratitude is an attitude that helps you reach higher altitude, they say. To place our gratitude, I call upon Mr. Sultanuddin, Assistant Professor, Miyasi Institute of Information Technology.
Thank you, Shamia ma'am. Thank you. A very good evening to one and all present here. I would like to, I take immense pleasure to deliver a vote of thanks for this 5 days online international FDP program. First, I'd like to convey thanks to Almighty for blessing us to conduct this program so successfully. I'd like to convey my thanks to management for their encouragement towards all our initiatives. I also like to convey thanks to our Secretary Janab Ilyas Said Sahib for permitting us to conduct this 5 days program. I also convey thanks to the convener of MIT, Janab Muhammad Yusuf Sahib, and all other executive council members. I also convey my thanks to our resource person, Mr. Mohammed Ali Allauddin, for giving a detailed explanation about Workday HR and financial topic. Thank you, sir. I also extend my respectful thanks to our director, Dr. Revati Krishnamurthy ma'am, and respectful HOD ma'am, Dr. Usha ma'am, for their encouragement and support. I also convey thanks to faculty members of MIT and faculty members from various institutions throughout the India for participating for 5 days online international FDP program. I also convey thanks to our YouTube audience for their encouragement. I also convey thanks to our event team for this for the support to complete this program so successfully. At last, I convey thanks to one and all who are present here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, participants, for this overwhelming response. We wish to, stay in contact for our future programs. Also, we wish to have you. So please stay in touch. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Ali bhai, I just want to introduce you to our director, ma'am, Dr. Revati Krishnamurthy, ma'am.
Sir, very good morning, sir.
Hello, ma'am. How are you?
Fine, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for giving me this opportunity, Revati ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. In your tight schedule, you have given you accepted our invitation and you have given session today. So really very, very nice, sir. Very insightful. So we are expecting more sessions from your side for us.
No, definitely. No, definitely. Whenever you guys will need help, I'll be there for sure.
Definitely, sir. Very nice of you, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you.
And Ali,
thank you.
Yeah, Ali bhai, we also have HOD ma'am, Dr. Usha ma'am also. Yeah.
Hi, Usha ma'am. How are you?
Ma'am,
You're in mute, ma'am.
Usha ma'am.
Sir, I'm fine, sir. How about you, sir?
No, I'm doing good. Just started my day.
We may be strangers to you, sir, but you are no stranger to us. You've already attended your CX.
So we actually attended your CXO
We're
talk
actually
last year. We had your CXO talk, sir.
during the lockdown, we had one with you.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
So we were
Yes,
big
I
fans
do
then.
remember.
Sir,
I do remember, and I think I remember talking to Revati ma'am at the
Ah, she was
Miyagi
there.
building, right?
Sir, we would like to have your sessions frequently, sir.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Abzi knows how to catch me, and I think most of you will know, because
Yes.
for me, new college is something very important, because my grandpa, everybody, even my father, is a product of new college. He did his BSc, MSc, everything in new college. My grandpa used to be a professor,
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
and so for me, it's a special thing. Whenever you guys need me, I don't think I would not say no, but I'll make my time out.
Sir, once if you come to Chennai, you're from Chennai only, no?
I
Sir?
was in Chennai 2 months back.
Oh. So otherwise, we could have called you for.
No, I tried
No,
to
no, no.
arrange the session, but he was a little bit busy. So I
Okay.
Yeah, I came into India after a long time, so I was very busy traveling, meeting my family. I had a marriage to attend, so I was busy traveling back and forth. But next time I come, for sure, I will try to come over.
MIIT, sir.
Sure, definitely, I will definitely do that. But thank you, Usha ma'am and
Thank
Revati
you so
ma'am,
much, sir.
and
Thank you for the
everybody for
wonderful
giving
session.
me this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Ali,
Bye-bye.
for coming. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Rose sir can
நிறைய
stop.
பேர் என்ன